So one thing, you know, they all common theme, and if you're a LO, go back and share it with your peers. If you're a branch manager, share it, because I still hear it all the time, is, you know, LOs are literally afraid to call the realtor and say, hey, you know what, I'm struggling with this bar, they're not getting the stuff, or whatever, can you jump in and give them a call and help them? All three are like, call.
Yeah.
But we all, as managers and stuff, we all have LOs who like, oh, I don't want to, you know, upset anything. I'm like,
Real estate space, it's probably only the last couple of years where brand is probably not as important as it used to be. So we don't care if you're with ABC Mortgage Company, XYZ, you're doing business with Ben because of Ben. You know, he's the only one I know here. So. And that's why I'm here. We've been friends for 20 years. You know, he asked me to do something, we jump up.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we're still all people. We're not, I wasn't a real estate agent, you guys weren't born mortgage brokers, he wasn't born a surveyor. You know, we're human beings. You know, tell us about your family, become more real.
There's a common theme here. Be real, be authentic.
Yeah.
It's a partnership.
It is.
It's a real partnership between everyone in the transaction. And for the most part, you know, as realtors, we play nice in the sandbox.
We have to.
You know, we're supportive of each other. We're happy when Michelle has a deal that goes well. I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
You know, vice versa.
And we jump on social and we say, congratulations, that's great, job well done.
Yeah.
Because we may be working together, right, all of us? And you don't wanna work with someone who's gonna make your life miserable.
That if the lender's not ready, there's like a 10-day grace period. The Consumer Protection Act. So, you know, we don't really know if it's a consumer. One of the things, you know, I don't do much high end, but we're on these tricky deals. We don't know if the customer hasn't turned in the stuff, or if the lender's just not ready, or it's stuck in underwriting. So, you know, the more transparency, that way we go back to our sellers. So what happens, especially on the listing side, if a deal falls through because of a mortgage broker, the trickle-down effect is we might end up losing the listing because the seller's so frustrated with the process. You know what, Paul, I'm done. We're gonna you know, we're gonna try next year. And then we didn't even pick this mortgage broker, but it's affecting our business. You know, that's how you make it. You learn from other people. Nobody's recreating the wheel. We've been doing mortgages 100 years. Real estate's, even though they think it's changing so fast, it's still a people business at the end of the day.
Paul, you kind of started down this path, but ended up kind of redirecting into the social media piece, and I know that that's super important, but I want to ask you, the listing agent, right? Because you have buyer's agents, you have listing agents.
Go ahead.
You, the listing agent, what value can a mortgage partner provide you as a listing agent? And then maybe even as a second part of that question, Lori, of course, we know that you list as well, right? So if you could give us your thoughts on that. But then what expectations would you have for that same mortgage person with respect to taking care of the buyer?
I think just a simple introduction. You know, we have a pre-approval letter from Cross Country, from, you know, I don't do any buyers, so I don't know. Wells Fargo, Citibank. But if we receive a friendly phone call that says, hey, we've double checked Mr. and Mrs. Jones, A+, looking forward to seeing you to closing. If we have multiple offers on the table, it gives us a little vote of confidence that if you're the only one out of 4 and the offers are pretty similar, I'm gonna say to the seller, I spoke to the mortgage broker. He says it's a done deal. I've done business with him before, he's very professional, and we're able to sell it. If we don't hear from you, and we just have a fly-by-night piece of paper that we're assuming is legit, then there might be the question mark.
So you would be open to receiving a phone call
We
from
would
a
love it.
mortgage person during
100%.
the offer process?
100%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I won't accept an offer for any of my listings if I haven't had a full conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I won't even consider it.
And they'll ask you, how do you want us to communicate? Through text, email, voicemail, and then just follow their request. I mean, you know, sometimes it seems like we're annoyed because we're busy, but if you call us with the Tuesday update, it does matter to us. Even though we may not respond to it, we know, hey, the appraisal's in. I just had a deal, the first time in 20 years, it was a VA deal. The appraiser was there at 12 noon. We got the appraisal back at 5 o'clock that day. I don't know how it happened. You know, I thought it takes longer to go through that process, but, you know, anytime you can impress an agent with we remember it, you know, because we see so many that we don't want to do business with, and we find a half a dozen that we do, we remember your names, I promise you. And you're not bugging us if you call. If you call us to earn the business without doing anything, it might be bothering us, but to give us any updates, we love it, because then we give it back to the seller.
Make us look good to our clients, that's what I say, make us look good, we'll make you look good.
And the other thing too, a lot of the big mortgage broker teams, any education that you give, there's so many new agents coming in the industry's, hot, it's on TV, $1 million listing, the whole, so there's a lot of millennials that are coming in with no sales training. Any value add you guys can provide as a mortgage broker, that they'll go and lean on, because we can't really lean on our brokers for information. The brokers are busy, I mean, you might not be, you might take
I
calls,
can,
but
which is nice.
a lot of the brokers, they're scared to call their broker if it's something silly. Your mortgage broker and title company are your two strongest relationships. Use them. Make sure they know, hey, 9 o'clock at night, if you got a problem, call me. If you can't sleep well, you're worried about the appraisal, call me. And that strengthens the bond anyway. It's, when we pick a partner, we want to be like an extension of ourselves. So, they want to do business, like-minded, have the trust factor, like you said, and, that grows the bond. That's more important than if the rate's a quarter point different or, who cares with the company, it's the relationship. That's why it works for, so many years.
Some realtor side, so I mean, can you kind of quantify, beyond reach, just expanding your reach?
I couldn't when I was in Remax, but I can at the new company, yeah.
There you go.
So, it's not a shout out for EXP, it just, the reach is more important depending what company you're with. Like Signature does a lot of recruiting, they do a great job. So, it depends if she might be trying to reach the consumer, we might be trying to reach other agents. It's different. I don't really spend time to look to see how many people, or I actually have my daughter that's doing it, because once you get to a certain level, in order to keep going, you have to delegate what you're good at. So if I'm just on the listing side, I got the top agents in the area. On the buy side, I have somebody else doing social media. That's how a lot of the top agents get to the next level. Media side, Michelle, is an expert. It can also increase your reach. Like in today's world, we're usually doing business with people. The only way to expand that, database or reach is through social media. Like she said, it's free, and just be real with it. Like she said, you don't have to sound like a, professional speaker. They want to know who you are. And the reason, we do business with mortgage brokers, clients do business with us, is if we meet them, they are real. And we're gonna have, probably 13 times more, chance of doing business with if we met you. And one piece of advice that I give to a lot of the mortgage brokers, like we'll get a call and say, what can we do to earn your business? And I'd rather, let's do a deal together, and then let's sit down and have a cup of coffee. I saw what you could do, you proved yourself, and then let's sit down and talk. You become more real now. The people that are in this room, just so you know, if you guys are involved, that means you're taking your job serious. This is a career, it's not a job. It's the same thing, when you guys meet with the agent shows up at those meetings, are the people that are gonna make it. If they don't show up, they're not gonna make it. So the brokers wanna spend their time, your managers or whoever you guys, if you're here attending this kind of stuff, they know you're serious about this job. And that's important.